we go. All right, but it should be a Skype. And now I can see you, and I can make you bigger. Can I? Why can't it? Oh, yeah, it goes bigger. There we go. Okay, the first 60 seconds of awkwardness in the live stream, that's normal. Okay, soon, guys, soon I'll be faster, I promise. And there's my window. Okay, there's my face too. Excellent. There we go. Yay. Okay, now to cue the official intro. Are we ready? We are ready.
You are listening to Musician Today's weekly podcast with Vera Blanco. Tune in for your insight into a professional musician's life and awesome new music.
All right, welcome everybody. Today we have an amazing guest on our episode 20 of Musician Today podcast. She's a performing artist, educator. I can't wait to introduce her fully, so let's go. Amy Serrano-Burcombe was born in Northern California, and she grew up in a musically talented household. She started learning at the age of 3 and has been playing the violin since 1991. Her studies consisted primarily of classical training with the Suzuki method. So every summer, she didn't miss an opportunity to attend fiddle and bluegrass camps. Amy has played a wide range of music with genres spanning classical pop, fiddle, contemporary, and improvisation. And as a child, she studied at the Solano Country Youth Orchestra. So performed with the orchestra, Solano Suzuki Strings, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it, Trujillo's Philharmonic Orchestra in Peru. In college at Point Loma Nazarene University, she was first chair as concertmaster, and now as a performing electric and acoustic violinist. She has had the opportunity to play for many companies, such as the Porsche Cars, O'Gara, Hornblower Cruisers, MGX Copy, Artist Moen. By the way, I did a video with him too. It's so cool. SD City Ballet, many other, and played at hundreds of venues around Southern California. Yay! Unless she's taking a vacation, you will find her on the weekends providing music for weddings, parties, or playing with a DJ at corporate events. So teaching music and passing on her life passion is one of Amy's greatest joys in life. She has been giving private lessons since 2005 and started group lessons through Strings Project in 2007. She graduated in May 2011 with a Bachelor of Arts in Music, and in 2013 with her Master's in Business. Amy believes one should never stop learning and continues to study with other professionals and attends workshops. So for fun, she likes to salsa dance, also being active and outdoors, spending free time by the ocean, hiking on the trail, and working out at the gym. She recently married the love of her life, Dylan Burcombe, who is also a talented musician and can be found on dylanburcombe.com. And before we go any further, you guys, you can always find Amy on her website at serenomusica.com, YouTube, look her up by Amy Serrano, and Twitter, /violinist SD. Yes, Facebook, /Amy Serrano, 1989. Instagram at /amy.serrano.burcombe. Wood Violins, even there's a profile, so welcome to the Wood family. We're so excited, yeah. And /Amy Serrano. Okay, so Amy, welcome. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Excited to talk to you and to share some of my path in my life.
Yes, I'm really excited too. Really excited to share your story and your awesome music. So I love your original stuff. It's so unique and different, and I just can't wait to make my violin sound like that once I get my Viper. So amazing. So I guess the first question would be, you're an educator, you're a performer, you have such a diverse career. How do you manage it all? How do you manage your busy schedule, and how do you find social media fits into it?
So honestly, it's just all about time management and discipline. At the beginning of every month, I just look at everything that I have to get done, all the big gigs that I'm going to have to prep, rehearse for, everything to prep for my studio, my private lessons that I teach. And then once I have big picture in mind, then I focus on a weekly basis. And then I look at every week, every new week, I'm like, okay, what needs to be done? And I prioritize. And then every day, beginning of every day, I'm like, okay, these are the things I have to get done. So, honestly, I don't like wasting time. So
Yeah,
I like,
high five to that.
yeah, I don't go on social media ever for pleasure, honestly. Like, very rarely. Like, normally I'm going on to, like, just, post something so that, I can find clients or, send things to clients, but I don't really just scroll,
Yes.
at very time, a lot of time management goes into my schedule.
Yes.
So, yeah.
For sure. Well, it looks amazing. I love visiting your page. What was that really cool thing, that oscillating kind of device that you were on with the violin the other day? I saw it in your stories. What was that, and how did you come in contact with that?
It's called a sway pole,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of different talent agencies have sway poles. And so from time to time, I've had agencies reach out and say, hey, like, can you be our violinist sway pole? And I'm like, sure,
Nice.
it's really challenging. It's different. It's maybe not for everybody. It is, you are like 20 feet up in the air. So if you have a little fear of heights, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is super fun to be like floating over everybody at a big party and you're like, hey, everybody. So, yeah. But
It looks really cool. It almost makes you look like you're swimming in the ocean. Like, love it. That was something new. I've never seen one before. Okay, so I guess my next question would be, so being classically trained, you had such a serious classical background. How did you come into the cross-genre world, and when did you decide that the classical world was not enough?
So, growing up, like, I always loved pop songs. I always loved top 40 songs. So that was always like my love, like always trying to like sing, growing up, my confession, like I listened to the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, like that was my genre.
Yay.
And so, I grew up classically trained, but I loved listening to that music. So, it was, after I decided to do music full time, about 4 years ago, I, was focusing on my music studio, and once that was all set in place and, I was getting a stable income and was like, cool, like, now I can branch out and do other creative things. I always knew it was going to be covering pop, covering epic rock songs, having fun with music, playing more contemporary pieces. I never really envisioned like, oh, for fun, I'm going to go join an orchestra necessarily. People have been doing that. Yeah. So just because of my love of contemporary pop, top 40s, rock, hip-hop, rap, like, I love every genre of music. So it wasn't like a matter of, it was a switch. It's like, it's always been a part of my journey, loving that other music. But I don't know, did I answer your question?
I think so, yeah. It makes perfect sense. I find that's the trend with many young artists today. Like, they're kind of torn between what they're taught at school and what they really like. And we try to bridge that gap. So a lot of my students play songs by Billie Eilish at their recitals, and they love it. So absolutely, I feel like that's a great way to pursue what you love. So yeah, great. How did you discover the Viper, the wood violins? How did you come in touch with that awesome piece of,
Yeah, okay, so my dad is amazing. He comes from a musical family, and so he put us all in, like, we started our instruments at 3 years of age because he put instruments in our hands.
Nice.
So in school, he just randomly, like, brought home an electric violin for me. It was like a really ghetto, probably $100 type of electric violin. So I always knew about electric violins, but I had never tapped into, like, why would you do electric over acoustic until my hubby came into my life, and he's an electric guitarist. And he was like showing me all the effects and the tones, and he's like, we have to find you a better electric violin. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I was looking at different electric violins, and then around that time I was starting to play and perform a lot more, and so I started getting a lot of neck pain up here, like a ton of neck pain. And I was like, there's no way I can continue performing and playing at this rate if I'm experiencing all this pain. And so I went to NAMM, I think in 2017, and I saw the wood violin booth for the first time, and I saw Mark Wood on stage, on his wood violin stage, and he was just rocking out on his Viper, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what instrument is that? Like, that's so epic. He doesn't have his chin down. He's so free. He's just, there's no shoulders.
Yeah.
So he can all the way up, and it feels like you're in first position. And I was like, if I get an electric violin, like, it has to be a Viper.
Yes.
Just out of necessity for, like, getting rid of all the pain. So then my hubby and I were on this hunt to find a Viper. And my first one was actually wasn't brand new. It was secondhand. I didn't even know where I would have bought a Viper. Like, they're not really sold in music stores,
Yeah.
So this brand new world for me. So somebody was just selling it on Craigslist who wasn't using it after 10 years, and so I just was super fortunate to just swoop down and buy it in an area near me, and then come to find out they're super hard to come by, and I had no idea. Now I have 3.
Wow, amazing. I love it. And how do you like the 7-string one? How do you like the 7th string? Is it comfortable to play? Yeah.
Gosh. Yes. Oh my goodness. No. So I have a confession to make. Okay, I bought my 7th string at NAMM last year in 2018. So that 2019. So it's almost a year now, and that thing is still scary to me. And it's amazing, and the possibilities are endless. But I'll talk about this later probably, but I had a really bad wrist injury this summer, and so it really put me on a halt of learning that 7th string, and I couldn't really do anything new or stretch my hands or really work very much. So that is still a challenge and a project I'm going to be working on, is learning how to master that 7th string instrument.
Yeah, that would be my dream instrument. Definitely want those bass lines to be played on the Viper. Excellent, Amy, thanks. So why don't we listen to one of your original songs in collaboration with your husband Dylan? And so the one we're going to hear right now is one of my personal favorite, The Alliance.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go, guys. This is The Alliance. love it. I love there's this Eastern influence and I can hear Eastern motifs. That's so interesting. So was this a co-write? Like,
Yes.
how did you
all of
approach
my
it?
originals-
Yeah.
All my originals have been co-writes, and so much of the credit has to go to my hubby Dylan. He's a genius.
Nice. That's beautiful. I love it. So like how would you say go about it? Like do you kind of guys throw around ideas and be like, oh, this riff sounds cool, or like, no, let's create the bass line first? Or like was there any specific process to this that you normally kind of do it in?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's written a lot more like music than I have. But I think he has his own process, my hubby Dylan. But I was like, okay, if I'm going to be involved and I'm writing, I was like, it needs to make sense in my mind because I'm not a writer like normally. So we would like sit together in a room and we would just, for me, what's always been important is coming up with like a lick or a melody line that's catchy, that you could see someone humming in their head. And because he's like all shred guitar, so anything fast and epic sounding is like most likely his idea. But I was like, I want what I can for sure contribute is like I want to create a melody line or a lick that's like hummable, or that someone's going to remember and think, wow, that was beautiful, or they get just for some reason catchy. So we would like play around with our guitar, like his electric guitar, my Viper. We would be noodling, and then before that we like to set themes and kind of like set a story. So last year we did we traveled to Thailand for our honeymoon, and Alliance was supposed to be a song we wanted to record in Thailand. So that's where Alliance originated. Where we thought we were going to be in Thailand, and we wanted kind of like that Oriental sound almost, or the European sound that you were saying. So just we kind of have these ideas, and then we're like, okay, what's the story? And so I think originally the story was like a woman and a man kind of in this like beautiful foreign like jungle, and they're like looking for each other, or like we kind of have this idea, and that's how things will start to develop. And I like structure, so I'm like, okay, what's kind of the verse? What's the chorus that we're going to keep coming back to so that it makes sense when you're kind of listening? So I feel like that's kind of my contribution to the music.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, it came out so nicely. Thank you. Wonderful. I love that. And I love it that, I like structure too. But as a composer, like I tend to do very organized stuff. But then the last album I was working on is I decided to just throw that all out and be like, see what happens. Let's just create like a track. Let's just throw some ideas into it, right?
That's so great. That's what you should do. That's what creativity is all about, is breaking
change it up a bit. Yeah. All right. Amazing. Okay. So we talked about the collaboration, and did you actually record this song on the Viper?
Yeah.
All my songs have recorded on Viper. It sounds almost like played acoustically. It has that articulation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my hubby has the Kemper. Have you ever heard of the Kemper? And so it's this amazing device that most guitarists buy it and use, and it has all these tones and effects. So, like, it's amazing. So, amps, like how guitarists are always like, oh, I'm going to buy this amp. Well, basically, the Kemper came and it's replacing the amps. So instead of having like 20 amps, you can have a Kemper and it carries all of those 20 sounds. But the Kemper holds like thousands of sounds and tones and replicates those tones perfectly. So my hubby, he's the sound guy. So he like has the Kemper. He like goes through all the tones with me. That's like a whole process, like weeks and weeks where like he's constantly like going through tones, and he's like, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this one? I'm like, no, that sounds nasally. So super fortunate to have that option,
That's amazing. I'm just getting into the whole like pedals and effects. It's my first kind of pedal at my producer's studio, so we're playing around with that, still trying to make it sound more smooth. It's coming. All right. What would you say was your biggest challenge on your path to becoming the artist you are today? What would be kind of like the main thing that you had to overcome to be here? Yeah.
Okay, well, to overcome to be here, I kind of like have two different answers. Well,
That's good.
my most recent challenge was, like I mentioned earlier, when I injured my wrist. I'd already had some, like, a little bit of inflammation in my wrist because I was, like, performing a lot, and I was, like, practicing a lot of choreography and dancing. Mm-hmm. So I think I started holding my violin too much instead of letting it hold on to my body. So I wasn't really playing with the right technique. But then I was teaching a lesson, and one of my students fainted on me. And I caught them, and thankfully they're okay. Nothing bad happened, but I ended up twisting my wrist. Oh, no. And that just, like, as far as my practicing and my growth that I've been doing, and has really been put on a halt. I feel like, mm-hmm. and I'm just letting it rest and heal and get better. Like, I'm still gigging all the time, but you know, there's a difference between when you're pouring into your practicing and when you're not really practicing as much because you're trying to, like, get better.
Yeah.
So honestly, like, that's been very emotional for me this past year, like, feeling like I'm falling backwards with my skill set just because I can't practice the normal way. So that's been very hard and discouraging, but I just have to remember there's so many other areas I can be focusing on and getting better at, and, you know, just letting my wrists have time to heal, which it's, I think, almost back to 100% normal now. So, yay!
Oh, great! Amazing! Yeah, I can relate to that. It's not nearly as deep of a story as yours, but I had a blister on my pinky this week. And that was so annoying. I actually had to spend 3 days, like, I could still play because I have a pretty thick callus on top of it, so I couldn't feel it, but it was like an extra weight on my string when I play, so that was so annoying. So yeah, I can relate to that. I can completely imagine doing that for a few months. Wow. Yeah. So there's a big difference.
Yeah, that's really been my biggest, for me, the most personal challenge that's really, like, been emotional for me, as well as physical. But, like, what was the other part of the question? Just, like, what's the biggest challenge?
What's the biggest challenge you would say on your path as becoming the artist you are today?
I mean, for me, like, I really crave growth, and I really crave challenge, and the challenges for me was, like, I would, you know, focus on building a studio, and now I teach 40 students, and, like, I hit these ceilings, and I'm like, okay, now what? So I hit these ceilings, and I'm like, I don't want to open up a school. Like, I like my private studio, but what's next, you know? So it's, like, constantly trying to find these windows that go up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to, like, I want to start gigging, so I'm going to start making these cover videos. So I'm making all these cover videos, and then I feel like I hit the ceiling where I'm like, okay, like, I have plenty of promo material, now what? You know, like, what do I want to do? What's challenging? What's fun? What's going to create better income? What's going to get me out there? So I feel like that's, like, a fun challenge where I keep hitting these, like, ceilings, and I have to figure out where to go from there. So
that sounds amazing. Completely,
so
I could relate to that for sure. Like, a few years ago, I was teaching at a place, then I found, like, I've had my time in there. I had to move on. Then I built a private studio. Then I felt like I've kind of had my time there too. I had to move on. And then I like to switch things up every couple of years or 3 years or so. Yeah, that's true. I think, like, as artists, we do crave growth. And the part of being an artist is just having this kind of passion, and nothing can stand on its way. So you've achieved something here, you've made a project, you move on to the next project and the next project. Someone that I don't remember who said, as soon as I create something, I then destroy it and build something new.
Nice. Where you're just like, okay, next, what can I work on?
Exactly. It's this kind of, like, restless spirit that we have that, people tell me, like, how old are you that you're so crazy, like, running, doing things? I'm like, well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like life is, if I'm just maintaining, I'm just doing what needs to be done, I'm, like, super bored, and I almost feel depressed. I'm like, I need to be working on something new and exciting.
Yes. Having a passion project. All right, amazing. Why don't we have a listen to another song, right? I believe this is also a collaboration, Conquer. Yes? Okay. So here we go, guys. This is Conquer by Amy and Dylan. Thank you. So to me, it sounds like a pirate song, like one of those things that could be either in the Pirates of the Caribbean or in a video game about pirates.
That was like our theme. That was kind of what we were going for when we created it. I have to go back and really think about it, but I know that was like, we wanted it to sound kind of piratey, and that was like, there's like a little, liquor motif in there that we keep bringing back, that we wanted to be like the recurring theme. So
nice. Well, that's completely it. You achieved it. You achieved it, girl. That's amazing. I love it. So it's something also kind of like, I have a couple of songs that are piratey in my album, and those were inspired by the Game of Thrones. What were you inspired by for this one?
Oh man, so honestly, I think we kept choosing slightly different themes for each song, and I think that I can't quite remember exactly why we chose that pirate theme.
It's fun.
I think it was like, I was just noodling around and finding themes that I liked, and my hubby was like, that sounds piratey almost, and I think we just ran with that idea, creating this whole story in our minds. So
nice. Amazing. Okay, we do have one more song to play. Are we prepared to hear it? I think so. So this is one more collaboration also, Amy Serrano and Dueling Violins Show, and this is One. You guys ready? Here we go. I love your music. I love that there's never a dull moment. You're listening to a track, there isn't an empty spot. And when you think it's over, it keeps going.
we are both full of ideas. That's the way you get when you have two completely different artists coming together to collaborate. I'm like, I have these ideas, and my hubby's like, I have these ideas, and we're
Yeah.
like, just fit everything in.
That's
So, yeah.
amazing. That's great. Okay, well, Amy, what we do usually towards the end of our show is we have this rapid fire game that we play, and you have to answer 10 questions in under a minute. Would you be up for it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. So I'm going to get the timer started. You probably won't hear it, but we'll be able to hear it, so we can tell if we ran out of time. Okay. So as soon as it goes 3, 2, 1, then I'm going to read the first question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Which events do you like to play more, indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
Okay. At what age did you pick up violin?
3.
How many instruments do you own?
Maybe up to 10.
Nice. Violin, what's your favorite, acoustic or electric?
Electric.
Yay. What motivates you?
My husband Dylan and all the amazing artists on Instagram.
Yay. Which YouTuber you can't stop watching?
Which YouTuber can I not keep watching?
Can't stop watching.
Okay, I love this like duo DJ combo right now. I think their names are Gigio and Alicia. They do like, it's like instrumental and DJ at the same time. They're super epic.
Cool. Your favorite songs to cover? Name 3. We ran out of time. But we're going to continue with questions. That's okay. Name 3 songs that are your favorite to cover.
3 songs that are my favorite to cover? Oh gosh. So one that, okay, I'll name 3 that I'm covering this weekend that I like. Senorita recently just came out.
Nice.
Let's see. I love Million Dreams by The Greatest Showman. I'm going to be playing that this weekend. And let's see here. Crazy Train.
Okay.
Love that one. And I'll be covering all of them. Doing like 4 different genres this weekend.
Nice. We'll be following you for some previews. Okay, name 3 people that you admire.
I admire Mark Wood and his wife Laura. I don't know if that counts as 1 or 2. I admire my dad and Ricardo Serrano, and I admire my hubby Dylan Burcombe.
That's amazing. That's perfect. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Me too. Okay, name 3 violinists that you follow on Instagram.
Let's see here. Well, I follow you now, so
Thank you.
One of my best friends, Regina Marie Tolley, and there's so many amazing ones. I feel like I'm going to leave people out if I just don't. I love following. Let's see, who do I want to mention? I love following Giselle. She's from Turkey. I can't blanking on her last name, but she always puts on these amazing spectacle shows in Turkey.
Wow, fantastic. Yay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Amy, for playing. We didn't make it in under a minute, but thanks for being a good sport. So I think the only thing left to do is to ask you the big question is, what advice would you give to a younger performer, musician entering the industry today who want to do something like what you do?
Okay, well, there's like 2 parts, but I don't know how much time we have. But the first part is continue to grow. Don't stop growing. Do something that invests into your future every day. Even if it takes you 10 minutes or 5 minutes, but do something every single day that invests into your future and that helps you grow in some area, whether that's your instrument, your finances, your marketing, your relationships, but do something new, not something that's just maintaining. That's my biggest advice and something I wish I would have learned a long time ago, but I think that's helped me get really far because I've always tried to grow every day. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's perfect. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for being on the show today. I'm so excited to share all the links with everyone. And thanks for sharing your amazing music that I personally love very much. I think it's like the perfect combination of rock and a little bit of a like, kind of Celtic feel to it. And yeah. So yeah. And guys, you can find Amy's music on her website at www.serranomusica.com. On YouTube, look her up at Amy Serrano and Dylan Burcombe. You'll find their collaboration.
Amy Serrano-Burcombe.
Oh, Burcombe, I'm sorry. Okay, on Twitter at violinist SD, on Facebook at Amy Serrano 1989, on Instagram at amy.serrano.burcombe. At Wood Violins, you can read her profile as well as an artist of Wood Violins at woodviolins.com/Amy Serrano. So thank you so much, Amy, for being on the show. I had so much fun, and it was so great to learn about your story and all the challenges that we together face. Like, we all have similar challenges. So I believe that is going to get a lot of people on the same page. Thank you. And I would love to have you back a few months down the road when you have like a release coming out or a show or something interesting you'd like to share with us, that we'll be happy to hear about that. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you guys next week. Yay! Thank you. Have a great one. And cue the outro.
That's all, folks. If you like Iron Fiddle songs, download them at theurbanarchitect.com/music. See you next time.